Hi, welcome to Tremor Trails, the channel that's geared all around the F-150 Ford Tremor for people that may be new to overlanding, off-roading, or adventure seeking in their Ford Tremors. What we try and do on this channel is highlight tips and tricks and give you a broad overview and an understanding of what you can expect when you're out there exploring these trails yourselves. Today is the first time we test the Tremor on a pretty moderate rock climbing trail. We're going to the south side of Canyonlands National Park to check out the Colorado River Overlook. Let's go. All right, Colorado River Overlook, original name, they can't all be winners. Canyonlands National Park, that's gonna be the south entrance. 14.2 miles, 2.5 to 3 hours to get it done. Some people say you can do it in 2, we could not. So what can we expect? You got some sand, some deep sand in spots, washes, and a bunch of rock crawling towards the end. The highlight is gonna be the Colorado Overlook itself, cool place to take a picture. The modes I used were 4 high, snow and sand, and 4 low, rock crawl. Remember, our cameras have stabilizers on them, so the hills are not going to appear steep, and the bumps are not going to be as rough. Also remember to check out the end of the video where we review this trail, just like we do all of our trails on this channel. Now let's go check this thing out. The first part of this trail is sand, and a whole lot of it, varying in depth. Also, to make it more fun, there are camouflaged rock ledges. How do I know they're camouflaged? Well, because I already bent my rock slider finding one. They're more hidden on the way back out, not so much on the way in. Leaving the first part of the trail into the second trail, I wanted to mention, don't try and take this trail if it's monsoon season, because it's going to be really hard to get through all that sand. With that being said, we're out of the sand now, and we're starting to get into more rock. There's some cool stuff up through the second section before you get to the big rock crawling stuff. Just take your time, take it easy. I should have aired down a little bit more. I aired down my tires to, I believe, 30 PSI. I probably could have went a little bit more, but the ride wasn't bad. The back part of this trail is where it really starts to shine. Definitely gets way more technical. You have crazy rock ledges you got to navigate. You have boulders. You have rock outcrop things that don't even seem like a trail. It's really fun. We're in a national park, so we can't do any drone footage, so don't crucify me on that. We decided to jump out of the truck and try and get you more outside footage to show you what we were kind of navigating through. This place was really fun. I went into 4 low on the backside of this trail and just started crawling, checking different lines, and exploring. Being the first rock crawling trail I ever did in this truck, I was continually surprised at how well it handled everything. The back part of the trail is the most technical part of this trail. Some really cool features that you got to navigate around. You have more of the just roaming over these rocks. I mean, it doesn't even look like a trail at times. This picture right here, you navigate around that big boulder to the left. The rocks don't go in a horizontal pattern. They're actually more in a vertical pattern, so you got to pick some lines, which is really cool. The cameras were starting to overheat, of course, so I wasn't able to get much stuff outside. I do apologize. But I wanted to leave in this last formation right here to kind of show you what you're dealing with. This is about 8 to 10 feet tall. I took the left side and just kind of crawled up it, but it was a real blast. But I wanted to keep this in to show you kind of what you're navigating. The truck performed flawlessly the whole time. No rubbing, no bottoming out. It was just a blast. Anyways, let's go see the river. So there you have it, the Colorado River Overlook Trail. I guess it explains exactly what you get to. What did I think about this trail? Man, this trail was a surprising trail for me. You know, the first part of this trail is kind of boring, I'll be honest. You're just in sand, and then you have these hidden rock ledges that you got to kind of slow down all of a sudden and then navigate up and over. But the backside of this trail is really fun and challenging. I enjoyed that. What we do on this channel is we rate all of our trails 1 through 5, being fun, fear, technical, and scenery. For fun, I gave it a big old 4. This was a fun trail to drive. I learned so much about my vehicle in these 3 hours than I learned on any other trail that I'd done. you know, being able to understand how and where to put tire placement, what the vehicle can actually do, what obstacles it can navigate and not navigate, it was an absolute blast for me. The passengers may not think it's as fun of a trail because they're not really doing anything except just kind of riding along. Unless they're into, you know, seeing what a vehicle can do as far as suspension and what obstacles to crawl over, then they might have a blast. So it just depends on what they personally like. But as a driver, I'm giving it a big old 4 because it was an absolute blast to drive. For fear, this isn't a fearful road at all. There's no shelf road to contend with. There's nothing out of the ordinary as far as, you know, a clinch factor. The only real fearful thing is, am I gonna blow up my suspension? Am I gonna pop a tire? Am I gonna take the wrong line on this obstacle and scratch something? That would be the fear on this trail. So therefore, it gets a 1.5. For technical, I'm giving it a 4. Now I know the Jeep guys and the LJ guys and people that have been doing this for years are like, what are you talking about? Remember, we rate our trails easy and moderate trails. We're not doing the hard, difficult trails yet. So it's a solid 4 for me on the technical side. For me, as a beginner into rock climbing, this was a technical trail. Fun Treks rated this as one of the first trails you should do if you're brand new to rock crawling. And I agree with that totally. I learned so much about my truck on the technical side. That's why I enjoyed this trail so much. You know, where to put your tires. Am I gonna rub? Is my differential gonna get hit? Is this the right line? Is this the wrong line? That's what made this trail a blast for me on the technical side. Like I said, I learned more in these 3 hours in this truck on this trail than I learned on all of the trails combined prior to this one. On this trail, this truck did everything I asked it to do. As long as I was on a good line, this truck went right up those obstacles, no problem whatsoever. Now, I will say that I learned a lesson on this trail as well. After we left the Overlook and crawled back through the rock stuff and got to the sand, I started taking off. I was ready to get off the trail because to me, the front part of this trail is pretty boring. But remember I talked about those rock ledges. So I'm doing 15 miles per hour and those rock ledges are hidden under the sand. I came over one and smacked my rub rail. I dented it pretty good. You're not done with the trail until you're done with the trail. Learn from my mistake. Take your time getting out of these places because you never know what's gonna jump up and bite you. That leads me to the final category of scenery. Unfortunately, this is not a scenic drive. As you can see, you guys might have even gotten bored with some of the footage. There's just nothing to look at. You are out in the middle of the desert, you know, but you're so far away from mountains and cliffs that you just never really see anything cool till you get to the actual river. So for scenery, it didn't get a high rating at all. Matter of fact, I'm giving it a 1.5. There just wasn't anything to look at per se. Not when you're expecting to see some really beautiful things off-roading. To me, this was like a farm road in the middle of West Texas until you got to the river. And even the river Overlook, while it was still pretty, it wasn't knock dead gorgeous. You know, you couldn't see a whole lot of the river. So, 1.5. Thank you guys so much for watching these videos. The reason I started this channel was for guys like us that have Tremors and don't know what trails we can do safely in our Tremor. This is kind of an experience and a journey, if you will, for me. So I'm just gonna keep documenting everything and keep trying to show you guys new trails. Remember, you don't need the best tech, you don't need the best gear. All you need is a tent, a cooler, a map, and your stock Ford Tremor, and you too can get out to some of the most beautiful places America has to offer. Thank you so much again for watching. We hope you check out some more of our videos. Until next time, we'll see you on the trails.